Good morning, day 8. Starting off the day with y'all in the truck already. I was a little behind this morning, so I was eating on my drive, etc., etc. But we are pulling up to the launch pad here, the loadout area, and I'll check back with you guys soon when I'm loading up the truck and once I'm back on the road. All right, talk to you soon. Turkey on the motherfucking launch pad. What's up, y'all? I am in my last few stops, just taking a little break before the end of the day. Figured I would take this opportunity to chat with y'all for a little bit. You know, it's good that I have this outlet, and it's good that I have some semblance of awareness about my emotions now compared to when I used to, because I've honestly been struggling a bit today. And it's only in the past couple hours that I've been able to work through it. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but a few days back in my records, I was in a coastal town, and I mentioned that I got all the way until like 5-6 o'clock with no stimulation, just raw dogged work, no podcast, no music, and I've been doing that most days since, and I gotta say it changes things. I mean, I do enjoy the entertainment from time to time, and I definitely entertain myself once I get off work and I go home, but I don't know, it feels like work has been going by faster, and when kind of paradoxically, usually I would think that having some stimulation and entertainment would make work go by faster, but recently I've been finding the days fly by and I'm present and I'm having a good time working, which is crazy. It's not crazy, but it's not the norm, I guess is what I should say. So anyway, I say all this because on a day like today, where I was struggling with some thoughts and feelings, I don't think I would have been able to work through them if I had been stimulating myself with other shit. Like if I had just been listening to podcasts, listening to music, and pushing on through my day, feeling the way I was feeling and thinking about the things I was thinking about and not really dealing with them because I had my mind focused on something else, I'm pretty sure I would just still be stuck there. So, I guess what I want to talk about is finding the feeling underneath. Because so often we feel like these replacement emotions. I have noticed it a lot more in myself recently than I used to be able to, but it's a concept I've been aware of for a while, which does help to start identifying that. But essentially, I had a conversation earlier in my day, basically at the start of my day, with my girlfriend about a trip that we want to take together coming up. And it was kind of revealed that we didn't have the same aspirations for the trip. And I brought it up because I was worried about that. I considered when we were talking about it that, wow, I've been fantasizing about this adventurous, like, trip with lots of hiking and traveling around and seeing all these spots, and I haven't communicated that at all. And when I did communicate it, she was kind of like, oh, that's not exactly what I was thinking. Like, I want to see things and I want to do things, but I also want enough time to just relax. And I definitely can appreciate relaxation on a vacation or a trip, but to me, I don't know, I have enough time in my regular life to decompress and relax, and I don't have a lot of stressors in my life, but to be quite frank, she doesn't either. So when I heard that, I got kind of frustrated immediately and was like, oh, like, we're not on the same page, and now we have to reconsider the trip, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe we shouldn't even do it if we don't want to do the same thing. And I got irritated and frustrated, kind of with her, but kind of with this, just the situation. And it's not fair to her because, just as much as I want to go out there and explore and hike and do all this shit, she's entitled to want to do what she wants to do, and we should be able to compromise on that as a couple. But I started to realize that I wasn't really upset about the situation at hand. I mean, it is a little annoying to think that maybe it won't be everything I pictured it to be, or it won't be quite as much of a adventure as I had been hyping it up in my head. But the truth is that it kind of exposed a difference between us, that oftentimes in our daily life too, she's just more inclined to take it easy, relax, when I want to go out there and do things and experience things. And I'm not talking big shit. Sometimes it's just like we're hanging out at the house. I'm like, why don't we go out and find something to do? She's like, why do we always have to do something? And it's true. We don't always have to do something. And I should probably examine why I'm so attached to doing things. I mean, at face value, I feel it's just a desire to have experiences. I work long days, so I don't really get to experience much outside of work on the days I do work, and on the days that I don't, I usually spend with her. So it's tough to feel like, I want to get out there and have experiences, and there's some conflict there. And this conflict sort of reared up again when we're planning this trip, and it just exposed this difference between us that could be significant, because this is kind of an integral part of me. Like, as much as I might examine it and say, maybe I just want to fill up my days and fill up my life with experience to avoid being depressed or avoid being sedentary, because that leads to me getting depressed often. The truth is, I've always had that desire. Like, as a kid, I've always gone out into the woods to explore and find new things, to have new experiences. As soon as I was able to ride a bike, I would ride it as far as I could and all around to new places, and I would ride with friends to have experiences and have fun together, and that's just always been the way I am. And as I've grown up and gotten older and into adulthood, I still feel the same way. I still want to do those things. When I lived in a different part of my state that was more mountainous and forested, I would go out every chance I get, even just on my own, to try and hike a new trail or find a new place to see, or just like drive through a new town and experience something different. And it's not so much about the experiencing something different, it's just that there's so much around us to experience. There's so much life to live, and I want to really live it. That is something that is like integral to me, and especially since I've kind of got my head out of my ass, got my head out of the dirt and the depression and some of the bad habits that were keeping me tied down to my like comfort zone and my unhappiness. Now I just want to live life. I just want to get out there and experience things, and it feels like a really integral part of me. I want to move to a new state. I want to live in a new place. I want to travel. And I know that she has aspirations to travel too, and I know that we're not so far apart in this manner, but I've been rambling for so long just to get to the point that when that difference between us was exposed, it's honestly kind of upset me and broke my heart in a sense to think that we might have integral differences that may make us less compatible than I hoped or that I thought. Like, I really love her, and I really love so many of the things that make her who she is, and I do love the way that she is. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're compatible in every sense, and there may need to be compromise if we're going to be together in the long run. Like, we might have to take some trips just for relaxation for her sake, and take some trips just for adventure for my sake, and it can be hard to compromise. It can be hard for me to compromise. It's hard for most people, I think, and I guess it just freaked me out. And I spent so long of my day feeling frustrated and upset, and kind of a mix of like sad and irritated, where I just was like, oh, like, why can't it just be easy? Why can't we be on the same page? Why can't she be exactly like me and want all the things I want? Like, all these stupid, unrealistic ideas about how relationships and love should be. It's not about being the exact same person, but there is a sense that there's a few things about us that might not be as compatible, and underneath that surface layer emotion of being irritated and upset was the truth of really wanting to be with her now and in the long term, and realizing that we have some incompatibilities, and that could be a jeopardizing factor. And I don't think that our desires in traveling, or in this trip in particular, are indicative that we should break up. That would be ridiculous, but that's where my mind goes sometimes. Sometimes it just goes to the extremes when I get upset, and I really have to sit with it and dig underneath that surface emotion to see, like, the only reason I'm thinking about breaking up is because I'm scared of that. Like, I'm heartbroken at the idea that we might not work out because of any factor. So when anything rears its head that even has like a 1% probability of causing that, I feel like I just go nuclear, and I'm like, let me take control and just end it right now. Which is absurd. I feel like a fucking idiot thinking that way, and even in the moment I recognize it's dumb, but I just can't help but feel it and think it until I get underneath it and see what's really going on. So thankfully I had a work day and just raw dogged the work day and got to the bottom of those feelings, because if it was me a couple of years ago, I would have been stuck in this for maybe days, but definitely at least the day. And there's no amount of talking about it with her, talking about it together, that could have alleviated that, because it's really just me overreacting and me having to process my kind of unreasonable reaction and unreasonable feelings on an issue that's not as serious as I'm making it out to be. So I hope anyone out there that sees this can start to recognize these patterns in themselves, because it does save you from a lot of personal anguish, a lot of interpersonal anguish. And again, as I say all the time, it's those tools of meditation, of learning to be bored and sitting with your mind, of developing the skill set of detaching from your thoughts and feelings just enough to see them for what they are and deal with them the best you can. So anyway, my break's wrapping up, and I gotta get back and finish up my few stops. I'll check in with you guys before the end of my day. I'll sign off at least, and just want to say thanks for hanging out, chatting with me. I'll get back at you tomorrow if we don't talk before then. All right, good night.